Let's pick up on what was in and left out of Finance Minister Tito Mboweni's 2019 medium-term budget policy statement. Joining us now is Trade Union Saftu General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi. Very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, Jane, for having us, and good morning to all of your viewers.
Tito Mboweni said the public sector wage bill is a mess. Now, how do we reduce this bill and keep unions on board?
Who said that our public service is bloated to start with? And therefore the wage bill is bloated and we need to cut it. What is the formula that the minister is using? How many police do we need to service what thousands of South African citizens? The last time I listened to the Minister of Police and the Commissioner of Police, they, based on the formula, said that South Africa is in need of 60,000 more police officials. Where does this come into this discussion? The last time I listened to the MEC of Health in Gauteng said that we're short of thousands of health staff and professionals in our public hospitals. Where does that come in here? The last time I listened to a formula was when the Minister of Basic Education published the norms and standards that government wants to adhere to, that said that there should be at least one teacher for every 30 kids in a classroom. And therefore, in the context of South Africa's current challenges, we need to employ more teachers to ensure that we do not have a situation where there will be 85 kids against one teacher in a school, as it is happening in one primary school in the Eastern Cape.
So are you agreeing with him that it's a mess, but just not the way he thinks it's a mess?
You must tell us what is the formula that he's using. If he was saying to us, we have far too many police than we need, then we will ask the next question, why are we having 58 people on average being killed, and why our success rate in courts is only 15%? In all cases.
All right, let's talk about other sectors where we are seeing a bloated labour force, where we are seeing a wage bill that he sees as being out of control. I mean, how do you rein that in? How do you deal with the Eskoms and the SOEs that are strangling our economy?
That's a very important discussion, because we do accept that a major problem facing the government now is the debt that is linked to the state-owned enterprises. But again, an important question must be answered. What happened? How did it happen that under the ANC government, with all of them, all of the current leadership were here, they didn't arrive yesterday from some planet. How did it happen that a state-owned enterprise as important as Eskom will find itself in a debt to the tune of 450 billion rands to 500 billion rands?
Okay, I mean, we could spend the entire, 10 wasted years.
But then if we do not
but here we are today.
To account, if we do not analyze what had happened in the recent past, we will continue to make similar mistakes. For example, here is one of the major mistakes I think that we are about to commit. Instead of doing a proper diagnosis of why we find Eskom in a situation where it is today, we are now saying that we must break it down and we must have 3 more CEOs, we must have 3 more boards of directors.
But you must agree that Eskom wasn't working, so something needs to be done. I mean, it's a thing of bringing unions on board of something that clearly needs to be tackled.
It is not working because, in our view, the government didn't protect it as such an important institution. It deployed its worst cadres to run it with no experience, with no expertise, and it imposed them there and they ran it down. And government must be held accountable for destroying one of the most important institutions.
Okay, but here we are. So, I mean, what do you put on the table? How do we push this forward?
We have put on the table, in the discussions that are happening within the unions, a series of measures that we believe can turn around the fortunes of Eskom and make it more efficient, address the issues of its overpricing of electricity, and address issues of its leadership crisis at this moment. What makes us angry, Jane, is that whilst that discussion is happening internally in Eskom, driven by the current board, there is a big arm coming from outside that imposes solutions that are not part of the discussions that are being held internally at Eskom. And that's why you have angry reaction from all of the unions that are organizing there.
Let me ask you this. If this government is not serving your interests, where does this leave you?
It leaves us with a clear question in our view. This government agenda, clearly even from the budget yesterday, is about satisfying the interest of the powerful, rich in the society, and slaughtering the interest of the most marginalized, poor majority. That's why, if you look at all the statistics, the wealth of the top multi-billionaire class is multiplying, and the wealth of the bottom 90% of the population is declining.
Will you distance yourself from that?
Absolutely. We think that this government doesn't serve the interest of the country, and we wonder how the people who keep on voting for it sleep at night, honestly.
Okay. Mr. Vavi, thank you very much.
Thank you.